Welcome back to another episode of the Alli From Corporate Podcast. Today we are with a very awesome rock star named Kolby Goodman, and he is a career coach who has helped over 4,000 professionals take their careers to the next level. You know, we're all about that here. And get this, he did it all after leaving his corporate IT management life behind. Similar to me, I want to hear more about that. Kolby has built an amazing business that helps people find their passion and thrive in their careers. And he's gotten the results to prove it. He's delivered over 200 keynotes and workshops. He's been featured in the Huffington Post, Yahoo News, CBS News, Business Insider, the list goes on and on. Oh, and just for fun, Kolby's also a professional improv comedian. So, you know, we're in for a great conversation. So if you're looking for some inspiration, practical advice, maybe a few laughs along the way, you are in the right place. Kolby, welcome to the Alli From Corporate Podcast.
Alli, thank you so much for having me on. It's a huge honor.
Awesome. So I'm so curious why you became a career coach and a job search expert. Like, I love to ask this question to all these career coaches that I interview because there's often a theme. And so tell me a little bit about why you chose to leave corporate and make this transition for yourself.
Yeah. So I titled myself as a recovering IT professional. So I started up in the help desk, moved my way up in my career, got better roles, got better gigs, got paid more. And towards the end of my tenure in IT, realized that I was working with people I didn't really like on projects my head was not in, making people I never met a bunch of money. And I said, this is not the value I want to put into the world. I don't know what that value is yet, but let's start figuring that out. And for me, it was a realization in talking to my peers, talking to my friends and family, that my superpower was the ability to empathize and the ability to communicate. And if you guys have ever had to call the help desk at your corporate role and ask for a password reset, to complain about a slow computer, intentionally, empathy and connection are not exactly running rampant in a lot of corporate IT departments around the world. And so that's when I started, was helping those that were around me who had seen me elevate my career, get more opportunities, get paid more, to say, Kolby, how do you do that? And it was this realization was like, oh, what I'm really good at, what I have this intrinsic gift of is not universal. And so through some education and some self-reflection, honed in some strategies on how to help others advocate for themselves better in their own careers and their own lives, go out there and get aligned with the right leadership and the right companies to make the impact that they want, and present a value proposition so that they get paid not simply on what they're capable of, but what is the actual value and impact that they bring, so that there's more connection, there's more engagement, and there's more joy in their careers.
I love that. Everybody could use that. Everybody can use empathy. Everybody could use a mindset of what value can I bring. So can you give us a couple examples of value that people can bring to a company? And this could be for any industry, any job title you pick.
Yeah. So I put value and impact in kind of two buckets. There's the tangible bucket, which is how are you going to help a company make money? How are you going to help a company save money? How are you going to help a company save time? How are you going to help them reduce risk, right? Those are the tangible, right? And those are things that should be measured, that you should be taking stock of on a regular basis. You should be asking your boss how you can do more of. And those are really important because in a capital society, you need to be able to prove a return on investment in the bottom line. The other part of it, which I think is widely ignored across all industries, is what is your human impact? How are you making people feel, right? Are you helping them feel comfortable? Are you helping them feel that they can trust you? Are you helping them feel a sense of relief?
Wow.
Harking back to my my consumer behavior classes in college, it was like, well, we all buy something. We all make decisions in a capital society to help us solve a problem. From something as small as a pack of gum to as big as the homes that we rent and buy, it solves a problem for us. But as we go out there and we communicate about ourselves and we advocate to other people who can make these really life-changing decisions for us, we don't speak to how we can impact them. We don't talk about how we can make their lives easier. And so what I coach my clients on is this ability to get really clear about what is that business ROI, and also what is the human ROI that you can bring, so that yes, you are a obvious business decision. You're going to have a positive return on moving those needles in those right directions, but you never be an obvious human decision because you make people feel good while you change business.
Yeah. And I've been a part of a lot of leadership conversations, and almost every decision at a good, solid company, you pair with the question, is this going to align with our business needs? And that's for hiring as well. So you're so right. And I'm glad that you're a guest on this episode today, because I wish more people knew that, because I see so many resumes that their bullet points just say what they did at their job, not the impact that they had and the value they brought. And it's harder to answer the question, would hiring this person help us achieve our business goals? Because you can't really see the value they're going to bring. So absolutely spot on.
And you can't, in the day and age of the easy apply and the one-click apply and the ATS system, you can no longer afford to be professional amateurish, or you cannot be average, right? Like you can't simply just check the box. And so it's your job to go out there and showcase how you can make an impact, how your expertise allows you to make a difference. But then also what that allows you to do is to go out there and problem solve, to engage in challenges and puzzles that you as a professional and as a human find interesting, versus all you do is talk about what you can do. You're signing up to be a professional order taker or a professional robot. And that's where disconnect and burnout and hopelessness come into people's lives, because they just feel like they're a cog in the machine because they haven't put themselves to be anything.
Corporate hopelessness. Can we go deeper into that? I talk to a lot of people that message me, and it comes in different forms. I'm stressed. I'm burnt out. I'm in a toxic environment. I hate my boss. I hate my job. And there's a couple questions that I ask each person, but it comes down to the root of I'm not doing what I like doing. I'm doing it for the money. And if you don't get raises often and get a lot of stock that's going like this, it's not worth the money. Heart attacks are not worth the money. Like, I'm serious. Yeah. So tell me more about corporate. What did you call it?
Helplessness. You feel helpless and hopeless in your career. Yeah. And because what I find this a lot is a lot of my clients are kind of in their late 20s or early 30s, and they're having this quarter life crisis. They graduated. And I mean, I can diagnose quarter life crisis because I had, right? Like I know what it's like to wake up in your late 20s and think the thought, is this it? Is this everything that I hoped for, worked for?
Yeah.
And I think we feel like our careers are more luck than strategy. I think there's a combination of both, but I think we skew into the lucky side versus the strategic side. But ultimately, we are challenged enough, or they're not challenged in the right ways. And coincidentally, good leaders from great companies will pay you more if you solve the right challenges. So it's your job to switch your mindset from I'm looking for a new job, I'm looking for a new opportunity, to what problems can and do I want to solve, and who's outing those problems where I can help them out as much as possible.
Wow. And that's a simple mindset switch that probably takes a little bit of practice to get used to. But once you start being a professional from that angle, I bet you see people get opportunities coming to them quicker. They get jobs faster because they're low risk hires. When they can convince a recruiter and a hiring manager, hiring me will help you achieve your business goals, then it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. You become, it's a no-brainer, right? You become the obvious choice because you understand, okay, how you're solving the business things, but then also you know that by solving these problems, you then also solve the problems of the individual humans that you're talking. And by making that shift, you then are able to take control of your career, because people are always going to have thoughts. People are always going to be suffering and have frustrations. And so if you can ride in on that proverbial, white horse and be their savior, you're going to be able to dictate where you want to go, when you want to do it, how much you want to get paid. And it's that mindset shift. It's that very simple but not easy saying, I want to do this job, into I want to solve this problem, that can help you feel hopeless in your career to taking full and complete.
For somebody listening right now who is maybe thinking, I want that to be me, but I don't know what I'm good at, or I don't know what I love doing, or I don't have a purpose in life. Is there an exercise you lead them through, or is there a way that you help your clients figure out their purpose?
Yeah. My first thing I tell my clients, and I would tell your listeners, is you don't lack strengths, you're just not aware of them. So you're not hopeless, you're not helpless, you're not useless. You just don't know. And what I call this is kind of the plight of the expert. The things that we're really good at, the things that we've either been born with intrinsically, that we've built up an expertise at, they're easy for us to do, they're automatic for us to complete, and they're thoughtless for us to action on. It's automatic. And so because the thought or the action doesn't have weight for us, we think it doesn't have weight for everybody else. So it's your job then to go get perspective. And I challenge my clients to go out to the people around them, both superiors, peers, subordinates, customers, clients, even people in their personal lives, and ask them this one very, very important question, which is, how have I been able to help you?
And I imagine sometimes people say, I don't know.
Well, it's funny. That is the fear.
That's the fear. That'd be my fear.
Yeah. But I can tell you, in doing this forever at Executive Alli, that is I've never had a client say to me, I asked 3 people and they all were dumbfounded about what to answer with. Everybody has an answer.
Okay.
Because of the way you structure the question, right? How have I been able to help you? You leave it open-ended enough where you allow the listener to take it where they want. And the word help is very subjective. So it can everything is as direct as, hey, you're really good at Excel, and you teach me all these awesome things about the formulas and the VLOOKUPs, the pivot tables, right? Or, you know what, you listen to me so intently, and you reflect about what I'm feeling, and you help me break it down to these really manageable ideas and thoughts. They can do things for you, no matter how technical and how applicable or how emotional and how people-oriented. You may think, well, of course, duh, like who wouldn't do it? Or I didn't know that was I didn't know that was a superpower. Because for you, it's just you. And so it's your job to go out there and gather that perspective, get that feedback. And I totally understand and appreciate that fear of the potential of getting nothing back. But my perspective is people want to heap praise on you. People want you to know the impact you have on them. It's just awkward to have that conversation. And so if you start out and say, hey, how have I been able to help? And you can preface it. Hey, I'm doing a self-audit. Hey, like I'm looking to become more self-aware. Hey, like I want to see how I can double down on my efforts with you. You can ask that question. And then to make it not so me-oriented, which is all, that spotlight effect that we all hate, say, great, how do I help you? Write that all down. I appreciate this. I'll do this more. How else can I help you moving forward?
Oh.
And you take the feedback in the more and the negative way. And I think that then breeds trust and connection. That makes people more aware. And then when you know how you're helping somebody else, and if what you're doing for them is effortless, imagine if you just put a modicum of like 1% effort in that strength and helping that person. How much more exponentially you'd have an impact.
Wow. I bet this is a way to improve relationships all across the board. And people will probably inspire their people in their communities to go out and ask other people this question too. And sometimes I think we're probably blind to how others see us in a good way and maybe a bad way also.
Yeah. I think, and that's the thing is we're so fearful of hearing that negative stuff or feeling like we're useless that we don't try to seek feedback in the positive. And it's not this, and to make it clear, this question in this exercise is as far from an ego play as possible, right? It is always about the other. And really that's what problem solving is about. It has to be about the other person. And so by going out and doing this, you're starting to build a tapestry of, oh, this is what I'm good at. I thought I was average. I thought I was like everybody else. I thought this strength wasn't special enough to talk about. And in the long run, you're totally wrong. And you're doing all of us, the universe, a disservice and not understanding, owning, and actioning on your strengths.
I love that. I have a game I want to play with you right now.
Okay.
You up for it? So
always.
So I thought it was interesting that my first reaction was, what if somebody doesn't have anything negative to say? So let's go through a quick exercise where I'm going to be the negative inner monologue that has ego after asking a friend, what value do I bring to your life? I'm going to be the negative, like maybe what not to think. And then afterwards, I want you to be give an example of a positive inner thought after that, like of how, like I gave, okay. So here's how it would look like, in my opinion, to have an ego and answer this question. So I ask my friend, hey, how do I add value to your life? How have I helped you? And if they say, well, you're actually really good at making spreadsheets and you taught me how to use Excel in a way that I had no idea. So a negative inner monologue with ego might sound like this. Oh, I'm good at Excel. And my teacher in college said that I would never be good at Excel. I'm probably better than that guy at work that always gives me crap about my pivot tables. So screw him. And I knew I was good at Excel. Thank goodness. Okay, so that's an example of what I think would be kind of an egotistical reaction. Now show us what a positive mindset would look like after getting that same feedback.
So I would encourage those people who have that is to double down on it, right? Because yes, it's the Excel thing. Oh, I'm so glad I got the Excel. At least come to me with a question. There's no question too big or too small. I'm here to help. Curious. What does knowing Excel, having that knowledge do for you? Right? What is it? How does it make your life easier? What does it allow you to do quicker? How are others using this skill? And so by kind of going deeper, right? Because it's your job then to ask good questions and to dig deep. Because remember, like, I think you could start off, knowing Excel and being an expert with spreadsheets has a business ROI. But if you can then tie that to human ROI, then you have the cherry on. And so, yeah, I think I totally get, and I've worked with some people who are, they're building a career on spite. And I get it. Being told you can't or you won't be able or it's impossible is a great way to start, but that takes up so much energy and fuel that it becomes life drain. And so I think that's a good start. I think if you can try to focus it on, okay, that person was wrong, to how can I make the people that I want to make feel good?
Good distinction. And what you're describing right now, I have been really working on in my personal life, which is making decisions from a place of love, not fear. And that's kind of what you're talking about, dropping the ego. And I wish more people could adopt this mindset. And I'll be the first to admit it's not easy, because sometimes I make decisions based on fear and then I catch myself, and it's not. When you have a career based on spite, it's not a good enough motivator to keep you going through hard times. You're
talking about that fear mentality, and I have that too. I would definitely diagnose myself as having a pretty persistent scarcity mindset.
Same.
And it's built into us. Those out there who feel like I'm too scared, but I know I'm too scared, but I'm a bad person for feeling scared. You're not. Like, your brain is doing its job. We are survivalist beings, right? Now, we no longer have to worry about the crops failing or the tiger eating us or the tribe, across the valley from attacking, right?
Right.
Can't have the problems anymore, thank goodness. But it brings kind of an advantage with our society. And so it's something that took me a long time to realize for myself, and now I try to pass on to my clients, is that you're not gonna ever get rid of those feelings of fear and anxiety and that future shipping that we all do. That's hardwired into us. You can't change your hardware. Well, you can change your software. And so your goal is to practice and not get mad at yourself the next time you have those fears or the emotions, or you get nervous for an interview, or you get a vague email from your boss about needing to talk and you doom spiral into the worst. Your job is to process better. So if you freaked out for 20 minutes today, your job is to ask yourself questions and get in the mindset where next week it's only 15 minutes, and then it's 10 minutes, and then it's 5. And then maybe it gets down to 30 seconds to a minute, but it'll never go away, and that's okay.
And I love what you're saying about this fight or flight response. And I think that's the main reason why people get nervous before interviews. That's the main reason why I get nervous before I give a talk. And it's because we're having this fight or flight response. And if we can be logical enough to convince ourselves internally, I'm not at risk of not surviving this. This is an opportunity to add value and show my worth. I think that has helped me not be so nervous for these things. Like, what value am I bringing, instead of like, how are people going to judge me? Or if I don't ace this interview, I'm not going to be able to pay my mortgage. Those are coming from a place of fear. But I would love to encourage people to come from a place of love. Like, I'm so excited to talk with this recruiter. I can't wait to tell them how I can be the solution to their problems. And so on that note, I want to transition away from how we can become more self-aware so we know how to be problem solvers. Let's think for a second, if somebody was able to master that and they were no longer at the mercy of their career, but they were suddenly in control of it, which is something that you and I have talked about previously. What does that look like? What's like the dream scenario? What does that look like for people?
It gives people the power of choice. A lot of times and I was a victim of this too, and I made these choices myself that I took a role because I didn't know when the next opportunity was coming. I felt desperate. I felt pinned in a corner. I wanted to escape the anxiety and the fear and the unknown about looking for work. And even though the job wasn't ideal and the boss gave me enough red flags in the conversation leading up to it, I wanted to choose a different kind of stress. But when you actualize and when you understand the problems you want to solve, who you want to solve them for, why you like those kind of challenges, you have this ability to go out there and be purposely choosy. You're not going to settle for anything. You're going to always be on the lookout for a next opportunity. You're not going to scramble. You're always going to have a conversation. And because you're seeking discomfort, right? You're seeking positive challenge. The challenges don't feel like challenges like they used to.
Yeah.
Right? You talk about positivity and mindset shift. I think a lot of times in our careers, we feel like we have a mentality of why this is happening to me. Why is my boss being an a-hole? Why did my company go through layoffs? Like, why are they calling you back into the office? And if we can shift some of that into, why is this happening for me?
Ooh.
Why is this trying to teach me something? And so your challenges no longer feel like they're taking you for a ride. Your challenges are now learning opportunities. And I think it brings people it allows them to really be an opportunity. And so with that control, no matter what ball is thrown your way, you can score up in another. And that's just something, your life is not going to go according to plan. It's not going to always be a cakewalk. It's not always going to be predictable. But when things go not according to plan, you know, with the self-activation, with the self-awareness, and with the ability to communicate with others, you can get yourself out of that pickle way quicker than you could before.
Yeah. And you don't have to feel stuck. So I did an exercise in a mastermind recently that I did with my husband, where we list out things that we have to do this coming week. I have to film a podcast. I have to get back to this person in LinkedIn DMs. I have to send my resume template to my friend. They had us say those things out loud. I have to do this. I have to do this. And then they had us instead rephrase it to, I get to do these things. I get to film a podcast with my friend Kolby. I get to share a resume template with my friend. And then they had us phrase it, I choose to. I'm choosing to do a podcast. We're not at the mercy. Like, I don't want to be at the mercy of somebody else's decisions. And then the last step was, I'm blessed to. I am blessed to be able to have a podcast where I have a platform to be able to have friends and guests on. I'm blessed to be able to share this resume template with somebody and help them. So that was like a crazy mindset shift. And so for anybody listening or watching, if you've been feeling like you just are going through life, going through the motions, not really making an impact, don't really have a purpose, try this exercise where you look at your week and see what you have to do that week. And then say in your mind, I choose to do these things. Because in fact, you are choosing to do those things. It's your life.
I think it's so powerful because it's really easy if you get stuck in that. It's really easy to feel like the victim. And sometimes it will, but sometimes we need to throw little pity parties for ourselves to kind of get through those emotions. But when it's a perpetual pity party, say that 3 times fast, it's not good for us anymore. And I think if you can shift that mentality, I mean, kind of the constraint is knowing that you have a choice to choose to be in control. That's really the code in the matrix, right? Like, I don't have to worry about what the economy looks like. I don't have to worry about if there's a pink slip in my inbox. I'm going with it. And I think that knowing that you have that choice, knowing that you have that control of self, no matter what is happening around you, is such a sense of peace and just like relaxing. And it just makes life just so much, as hard as it is, like, don't be another contributor.
Yeah. And it's like you develop this mindset where you trust that you'll be okay no matter what. I think I've heard a quote. It goes something like, a bird isn't afraid of a branch breaking beneath it because it trusts its wings. It's the same thing. It's like, it doesn't matter if we're going to go into recession. It doesn't matter if the housing market crashes, the stock market, because I'm going to be okay because I have opportunities coming my way. I get to do these things every day. So that's a super healthy mindset. And I guarantee you people listening to this right now are really thinking like, I want to be like that because it sounds more filled with joy, more positive, less imposter syndrome, less self-criticism. So I'm so glad we're talking about this.
And I want to, and one thing here before I move on is, and I said it before, but I want to say it again, is like, because the lesson I had to learn in my 20s and 30s is the win isn't getting rid of the feeling. The win is being able to process it better. So like I said, when you fall back into that pity party, it doesn't help you to feel bad for feeling, right? What helps you is, okay, I caught myself throwing this pity party for me. What do I get to do to get out? And knowing that those feelings are always going to come, because I think it's really easy because we feel like we should be better because we're comparing ourselves to others because of social media and all this stuff, right? Like, we have this heightened sense of self. We have a heightened expectation of self, And when we slip from that, we tend to get really hard on ourselves. And so when you slip, when you default to your hardware, don't get mad at your hardware. Just know that you can utilize your software better.
Great analogy. Really good analogy. Well, I definitely know that we're inspiring a lot of people listening because I can't tell you how many DMs I get on every social media platform. Exactly what you're saying. I'm not getting jobs. I don't know why. Recruiters aren't calling me back. I don't know why. I'm networking. Nobody's messaging me back. So I would encourage people to, if we're talking about some action items that people can do after listening, I really like that exercise you're talking about. I wrote this down. So ask friends, family, coworkers, mentors, bosses, how have I been able to help you? And help them be creative. If they're like, what do you mean? Give them some context. Tell them you heard about this episode. Send it to them. Send them the link. But you might be surprised at what value you have brought to people, and you might be different than you think.
Absolutely. Because the things that you're doing that have such a big impact on people, you are probably doing or subconsciously. It's like breathing or walking to you. And so you're like, I had no idea when I do this thing for you, it means something. Like, I thought it was just X, or I thought I was just doing Y. And I think that's something we hit on before too in our previous conversations here, Alli, is another action item you can take. I would encourage your audience to take is to stop using the word just in conversation.
Tell us about that.
Every time we use the word just, when we talk about our value, our worth, and our worth, we are automatically doing 2 things against ourselves. We are denouncing it. We are limiting its value to ourselves because we're saying that word out loud. And the people that you're communicating with are signaled to say, well, this doesn't mean much, so you don't have to take it as seriously. I just saved that account from going to our competitor, or I just helped my coworker, print and collate that report. It diminishes everything that you do. So experiment taking ownership. Experiment standing on the arms of his saying, I did this thing. It's going to feel comfortable at first because we've all been bred at saying that your work should speak for itself. But if you can speak for it as well, the world is going to be full of opportunities for you.
100%. And if you ever feel friction or hesitation because something is awkward, like what you're talking about, removing the word just from your vocabulary, I encourage anybody watching or listening to lean into that uncomfortable feeling, because that's where the growth happens. That's where the mindset shifts start to take place, because that's you starting to practice a new habit that is only going to bring good things to your life. What a cool mindset shift. Okay, so we're telling people, ask your people in your network, how have I been able to help you, and remove the word just from your vocabulary and take ownership of the value that you bring, because you're amazing.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, this has been such a cool conversation. I know we've inspired people. So tell me, Kolby, how can people get a hold of you? And are you taking on clients? I know people are going to ask me.
Yeah. With Ben, if your audience, if they need some help, some one-on-one support in advocating for themselves in their resumes, cover the LinkedIn profile, they need help telling better stories, having more ownership, connecting better in their interviews, going to episodes where they feel like they're a victim of their career to you or the captain of it, feel free to reach out. My company is The Job Hunter, THEJOBHUNTR.com, or reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm the only Kolby Goodman out there, KOLBY Goodman. Let me know that you heard me here on Alli's podcast, and we can have a conversation to see how I can help.
And an extra challenge for people watching and listening, if you're going to try this, asking people in your network, how have I added value to your life? How have I helped you? Send one of us a DM saying the feedback you got. I would love to hear this. I recently did this exercise actually, and it wasn't about work, but some of the things that people said about me was that I was creative. I have it like written down here. I was creative. I'm an idea maker. I'm curious. But when I did this exercise, I was shocked because it wasn't the things that I thought people were going to say about me. So this is a really cool exercise. I'm glad we talked about this. Thank you so much for your time. I'm so grateful that we were able to do this today.
I'm so grateful we got to do this, and we were blessed to do this today, Alli.
That we chose to do this.
And I hope we can do this again real soon.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Kolby. Thanks everybody for listening. Until next time.